Did it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. We're going to be doing an extremely fun video today on soloing the guide and working through this without doing it as a team. This is my 7th wipe. I've got, 3,500 hours on my account or something. I've done the guide every wipe. I sold it once, but for the last couple of wipes we've done it in groups, which definitely makes the guide easier. I'm not saying that this is the easiest way to complete any of this, but soloing is fun and still a good way to do it. So here's going to be a quick guide on soloing it, what to do, and I hope that you enjoy. First thing that we'll go through is we'll go through the ideology behind doing this solo. This is going to depend a lot on your comfortability of maps and where you think where you know routes that you can get around places. And if you don't know what the guide is surviving every map once. It is capper required. It's usually one of the last tasks that you get a level 40. Last 15 or 20 tasks, I'd say, typically. And that is surviving every map, and you cannot die between any of them. You cannot get a run through, you must get a survive. So with the 9 maps now that are in rotation, this has a couple of things. So the first one that I will start off with, especially going solo, is we'll start with the factory. And I won't play this necessarily as a pure survive. I'll prioritize survival over wiping lobby or over taking fights, but I'll just keep running it back because it's the first map, so it doesn't matter too much. Remember to reset your quest though if you do die, because I did that once. So in this one, we're going to go factory. For me, the next map with the highest amount of risk is going to be streets. So we run streets afterwards. And then we're going to go customs. Similar thing with customs. I don't think customs is necessarily a difficult map to get to survive on, but all of the routes run into choke points on customs. There's not a quick in and out on customs like there is on most other maps. So that's something that we have to be watching for on these. And then beyond that, it's kind of a toss-up on which one you run. But Woods, Interchange, Shoreline, Reserve, and Lighthouse are what are left. In this instance, we ended up running Interchange and Woods before we ran the other 3, because the other 3 have Red Rebel extract. So we bought Red Rebel to get out the other 3. So we ran Interchange and Woods, similar thing. Running edges, and I'll go through routes and spawn points and everything like that before we start each one. And then we ran Reserve, Lighthouse, and Shoreline because they have Red Rebel, so it gives us another extract. Giving yourself the most amount of extracts possible on the map is very important. So that's what you want to be focusing on. Give yourself the highest chance of survival. And avoid, especially once you get into like your past halfway, you really want to be avoiding PvP as much as possible. You see a couple spots where I ran some people and we avoided them. And then I finished with the lab. And the reason that I finished with the lab running solo is that I'm comfortable with the lab. I've played a lot of labs, and there's only one spawn on labs which really limits you on your ability to get down without running in players. Almost every spawn has direct access to get underneath. The 2 spawns that are the best for this on labs, which we'll go into more detail later, but you're trying to get to sewer and you're trying to get to no backpack as the 2 best spawns for you to get out. So extracts for you to get out. But yeah, so we'll get right into it. Again, hope you enjoy and watch the Solo Labs guide. All right, first map starting off, we're running factory. Again, things you gotta be careful of are just getting out. That's really all that you want to do here. So we have spawns, which I will circle quickly all around. If you're doing this and you're just shooting for survival, the one thing that I would watch out for is that you don't just want to sit in gate 3. So right up here, people are going to push you. People are going to be moving out before the 7 minutes. You have to stay in a raid for at least 7 minutes. So make sure when you start getting the raid, note the time and get ready to stay in there for at least 7 minutes if you don't get kills. As you'll see in mine, I end up getting 2 kills from scavs, and that's enough to get out. So that's helps. But essentially, these 3 spawns, maybe this spawn, you want to move to gate 0. You want to make sure you have your factory exit key on you. This spawn can also move with this spawn down to med 10. It all pushes people. It's all, you know, not the best. These 4 spawns, I try and go to cellars if I can. You'll see I get glass hallway, and I got stuck because glass hallway could be hard because you're always going to have the person down here and down here. So I just take the fight and see what you do. This middle spawn, you can kind of move towards any 3, but there's no way for a good way for you to get to any of the extracts without moving into people. So again, priority is survival. With factory, I care less about it because it's your first map. If you die, it's not a big deal. You run it back. So you just keep running factory until you get that survive, and then that's when your real guide run starts. Let's go. Okay. Let's get going on an actual attempt here. Gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Be enough for me to take it. Yep. Factory down, now down the streets. So we're running streets again because, in my opinion, this is the second highest risk in getting out. You have a lot of spawns all over. I'm not gonna circle all of them, but there's 5 spawns up there. There's 3 spawns over there. There's a few spawns in Concordia. There's one back there. There's 2 there. You've got spawns littered everywhere. You got a couple down here. You have these 4. You have 3 in Concordia. You got 5 over here in this section. So you have a bunch of different sections where you can spawn in. Again, bring in the green flare, bring in money for car. You want to give yourself every possible chance to extract. In my case, we spawn down here in the corner. And then I take a route up. I try and cut through here, run into people, which you'll see. And then I double back, go around, and then I come over here. I sit behind car until I hit my 7 minutes because I couldn't find any scavs to get out sooner. And then we run and take car. So I got fortunate with this one. This is a good spawn. You have a couple of different ones, but likely on streets you're going to get a spawn that's across from you. So Klimov and Car are good ones, but Car's not guaranteed. But you want to check anything that you can. You want to check Courtyard if you're close to there. When you're spawning on this side, you're likely going to have sewer or damaged house. So you're going to have to move. I recommend edges and to avoid hotspots. Anything in here is obviously a hotspot. Get a different color to mark these ones. So you want to stay out of the center of that. That's a hotspot. Pinewood, I find you can usually kind of get around, but you're still risking running people. This building tends to be a hotspot. Back here seems relatively clear later in the raid. Early raid, this is hot. In here, specifically down this section, seems to stay pretty hot. Czech seems to stay hot, and you want to avoid Lexos as well. Concordia seems to be okay to move through, so if you're on this side, crash side I find is good, but moving through the edges, as close to the edges you can get is always good, and move slowly. Use your ears and listen, and you should be able to get streets done. Alright, let's do it. Let's get streets down. Spawn always throws me off.
God, why is he me? You won't play? What the was that?
Streets down. We'll leave on customs, and then everything's too bad after that. All right, you have 2 maps down now, and you're making good progress. So the next highest risk is customs, and the reason why I think customs is the next highest risk is you basically have a big chunk of spawns on the side, and you have a big chunk of spawns on the side. This side has to push across this way, and this side has to push across this way. So the chances of getting through customs without running into a single person is not likely. You have spawns that you want to keep your eye on, so you want to bring money for a car, and you have old gas, and that's the quickest way from either side to get out. Your shortest route to get out. Always check 012 if it's open. If someone has turned on power, you can have your factory exit key to get out at Almo. But for my run, you'll see I get this spawn right here, and from here, the first thing I'm doing is I'm pushing in. One of the reasons that I am doing that is because I know that I have 4 or 5 spawn points behind me that are likely also going to push in, especially right now with people pushing Rashala. Time of wipe does matter here because it makes it so you can predict player movements. So what I do is I push in here to car. I sit for a second at car. I get a shot and a fight that happens in dorms while I'm sitting at car. So as soon as I hear that, I know that this spawn here has pushed up and into dorms, which means that this section is now cleared. You do have these other spawns that can still push up, but it still lets me know that I can make it from here up into sniper roadblock without much issue. So that's the first thing I'm doing as soon as I heard those shots, is it's a run back behind before they know or hear me or know that I'm in the area, and get up to here. I get fortunate here. I get one scav here. I get one scav here. And I get one scav down at the rock, which gives me all the XP I need to extract before 7 minutes. We go down, we take out smugglers, and then I see a guy crossing this bridge, which is these spawns moving in. I take some shots at him because I'm already in extract. I don't want him to just push that way and then get me at the last second, so I take shots. I probably would say just to sit there quietly, but this is where moving fast for the guide can help, because what you want to do is you want to get ahead of rotations of players who may be sitting a little bit slower. Not everyone's super pushy. Most people are going to push dorms or going to push fort. So I tend to find that if you do have one of the spawns in this, the main road can be your safest way to traverse either direction and then cut off to your respective extract. This is an interesting spawn. Car is here. Flechette. Oh, you did flechette me. Did I hit you in the face?
You were the one straight in front of him, right?
Maybe probably when I walked behind the crate. Also, I think that was him then.
Yeah, no.
They're going for Grenadier.
That's crazy, dude. Because
I'll have to show you that clip.
Yeah. That clip is insane.
Are you here? You are here. Perfect. I got some guy using the Sega. Oh, he was using the Sega. On to Interchange. So Interchange, in my opinion, is one of the easier ones to survive. You want to make sure you don't have a backpack and you have money for a car. Interchange is most likely going to be sitting in an extract for a little while, so make sure that you don't sit in the extract, sit outside of it where you can still listen and hear and watch, but you're not in a position to take a fight if it comes in, because you're not in a position being you're in a good position to sit and they will walk by you. You want to avoid it at all costs, but Interchange, you got big sections of spawns up here, a couple back here, some over here, and some over in this corner. So power plant, you're going to stay there. Emercom, I would push hole in the fence, but I'd push it through the underneath. I wouldn't run in, but I'd try and get in and under and then go around. I think you have to come up to right here to get in, but then you basically would sit underneath and wait. Power plant, sit and wait for car. Railway, this edge route can be good, but sometimes you have to sit and wait right here for some people to roll around. This extract, I can't remember, I think you usually get Emercom if you spawn back here, so you just roll along the edge and then sit and wait. You'll see me kind of sit and wait out here in the bushes until I can run straight to extract and get out, which is what you want to do. You don't want to be sitting in the extract because you're too likely to run into a fight there. But yeah, Interchange, stay on the edges. Basically, don't push in at all for guide. Stay around the edge if you can. Get a couple of scavs, and then you can get out immediately. And that's really it for Interchange. Push right. I saw you. Nice interchange down. Woods next. We are slowly but surely getting there. Now it is time for woods. Woods can go really smoothly or it can go really poorly. You'll see at this point, for most of these raids, I'm choosing to run night. Night, you tend to have slightly less players. You run some risk of running cultists and other things. But in my opinion, it's better to avoid the players and deal with other things. Typically, you can run, move around, do stuff. So woods, one of the crap parts about woods and why you want to at least have your rubles on you is because all of these spawns have to come down to outskirts, and these spawns are the only ones that end up with these. So in this case, car is a really good one. You'll see in this one, I get really fortunate. I get this spawn, I come over to car, I get 3 scavs out here in village, and I get out. It was like a 3 or 4 minute raid. I think it was very quick, very easy. I was able to get out before I get any pushes from these spawns up, which is very common. I don't like hanging around this area unless you get that really close spawn. You could take out scavs and get out. But any other ones, what I like to do on woods is you run like super edge. If you can get over into this edge of the map, you can run right along the landmines and be pretty safe the whole time. Not many people are watching that far over. I have pushed around lake before and it's been okay. You just have to be careful doing it. That's definitely a lot higher risk. The other route that I really like if you get this spawn is you come up, you kind of roll along these edges, you jump across the roads, and then you take this path kind of around and then ridgeline down to northern. And so that path I find is pretty safe for many players running it. You have a chance of having people up here that are kind of watching down or crossing people that are moving over this way, but I haven't run into it too often. That's the route I use if I need to survive, is I'll kind of run the rocks all the way over to northern. If you have these spawns, you can. I've ran that route the other way too to get down, so you get any of these spawns in this area besides this one that's down here in the corner or these ones, and you can come up and around the rocks and then kind of through along the edge, and then you push all the way down and then you run the edges and then cut in at the very end outskirts. Good luck. Woods is not the highest risk, but when it does get risky, it can. Being at night helps you hide a little bit more if you need to. Maybe good. this will be the start of the maps which I recommend having Red Rebel for. So I think it was about 1.5 million. If you have it, use it. If not, just limits the amount that you can extract. But we're going to move on to Lighthouse. Now, Lighthouse has the benefit of you can always extract Southern Road. You can always extract past Shoreline. If you have it, you can also always extract Mountain Pass. One of the worst spawns you can get is this one right up here, because you're going to almost always have people right to that right, and if you're a bear, you're going to have to take out rogues before you can take it. You might be able to make the run over, jump, and then out to car without getting shot. I'm not exactly sure on how well that would work, but for the most part, I try and hang out around these 3 extracts down here. Try and move towards those. Along one spawns on the beaches, you can be in rough situation too. If you spawn down there, I'd recommend hanging out for a second, letting people move by you. Sitting somewhere, and then slowly wrapping around the edge back to Southern Road. Really good spawns are either of these two, because you can push straight out to Southern Road. This one's not bad either, but realistically, you want to try and play this one really slow. Nighttime, you're risking people having thermals, but a lot of people run thermals anyways, so just try and move slowly to extracts. I got fortunate on mine, and we ended up with this spawn right here, and I just moved down, and I sat in the trees right next to Mountain Pass, and then once the 7 minutes are up, we got out. All right. Shoreline Reserve, Lighthouse next. Lighthouse first. Probably to get Red Rebel.
I think somebody's probably built in that mine. That's what those TCs above ground are for. If I come over this way, I bet you the scientists will be back up. I'll probably farm them again. Might be somebody
Exciting
over
7
here.
minutes. We did it though. We are 66% complete. We're down to the final 3. Now, for Shoreline, the ones that you have that are really good ones are Climbers Trail, Road to Northern, Pier Boat. Path Lighthouse, you always have. Road to Northern seems to always be there. Climbers Trail, you have. Pier Boat's a gamble, but it could pay off if you get in a bad situation. Any of these 3 spawns, most of the town, you're running Path to Lighthouse. You want to sit there in the trees somewhere far away, maybe back here on the rocks, or up here on the edge, or down here on the edge of the thing, and just wait for your 7 minutes to be up and go. This one down here, you could try and skirt the edge, but it has some risk to it. The other way also has risk, so this one just kind of a bad spawn. You can try and traverse down here. Check Pure Boat now that the green smoke is up, so you know. Oh no. Lost it. But that's it for that side. On the right side, any of these spawns, I'm going to come up along the edge. Any of these spawns, I'm going to push down and through this way. Maybe check Pure Boat. Try and avoid people as well. You know, use your ears, listen. For my run, I got a pretty bad one, which is this one right here. So I have spawns surrounding me where I am. The route that we run is I pushed back right here. I stopped because I heard this top spawn moving down this way on the road. Fortunately, they didn't hear me. Once they were past, which you'll see in the video, I pause it. I keep running the edge, run up here, come out, come up, through here, and then I come over, I hang out here up in this cabin actually, and then once I get within a minute, I jump out and I immediately hit car and we extract. So not too bad of a route, definitely a little risky running into players. This section like in from here to here is pretty scary because you got people that can be hanging out over here and have good eyes on you, but good luck on it. Shoreline isn't too bad. That's why I left it until one of the last ones. You can usually avoid people pretty easily. Well, good luck, and we'll see you on the next map.
Helldivers 2 looked like an incredible game. That just looked like stress, which I'm all for.
Oh.
Have you seen anything about Helldivers 2?
No, I haven't.
I think that's a game we should all play together. I think you'd enjoy that as well. It's like Starship Trooper vibes. Load into a deserted planet.
Sounds
fight
pretty
the
interesting.
alien life forms. Like, realistically, running this hasn't been a bad moneymaker. That's like a high damage. That's what you want to put in there too. That's high damage. Yeah, no. They also have CCTV and other shit that you can set up. So like if I were to set up I think if I set up one of these in like a CCTV camera, I can download an app on my phone and monitor my base.
What?
Yeah. You can scroll through
That's
your camera
insane.
feed on your phone. In game, dude.
We're almost there. We can taste it. Reserve. The most important one to have Red Rebel on for Cliff Descent. Cliff Descent you can usually get to pretty easily from any spawn, and it's always there. The most difficult part about Reserve is the fact that you don't have many extracts, and the extracts aren't necessarily easy to do. You got your spawns back in this area, you got your spawns down here, and you got your spawns here. So any spawn in this area, I'm wrapping around, and then I'm coming up to Cliff Descent. Even if I didn't have Red Rebel, I'm coming up to Cliff Descent, and then I'm dropping down from the top, and I'm kind of sitting and going for D2. Again, not pushing fights, not trying to take people out, just sitting and waiting for D2. Similar with any spawn over here, you're going to try and run the edge. Oh, I forgot, sewer manhole is the other important one, so don't bring a backpack on this one. Sitting in this building I found to be okay. You got to be careful, listen for people. Getting out, same thing you're doing, but You can also come up and push here. You just gotta watch the line of sight that people spawning up here have down on you from Dome. The most difficult spawns to deal with on this are going to be back here. You can either push this way and then do a long wrap around, or if you're on this side, you could try and push this way. There's another option, which is probably the one I would take, which is that you run close to here. You can hang out here in Harry Potter. You jump down behind Knight, behind RBST, and then you go for this building, and then you go for no backpack. Red Rebel or no backpack are going to be your things. You do have the option to wait for Armored Train if you want. It's just going to be a longer raid, so it depends on how much time you have to commit to the guide that day. I was trying to do this one a little bit faster. So we got a spawn, I believe, here. And then we rolled up along the edge, hung out here because I thought I was hearing something to my right. Pushed in and then sat right back behind, and then ran out when I just had a couple of seconds left, so I didn't have to sit around to extract for too long. Not too bad. Reserve, a lot of people push PvP on reserve, so that makes reserve more predictable. You got hotspots here, and then usually a hot center section, and besides that, there's not usually too much movement on the rest of the map. Could be useful to bring in a little bit heavier kit for reserve, so you're ready to take a fight if you have to. Good luck. Oh, here we go.
So that entire base is booby trapped, completely automated.
Jeez.
The reason it's so big too is they have these, like those TCs that I was saying. So if you set a ring of TCs, you can build everything on the inside.
That's pretty cool though.
So they just have a couple rings so that way they can do China walls, which is what these are. Hello, BSG.
Hello?
Okay. It's not wanting to... My launcher's not even wanting to open.
Mine kind of did that earlier. Appreciate it, Zillion. Thank you, thank you. We've made it. The final map, Labs. Now, I know that for most people, this is going to be the scariest map to run. That's okay. I'm here to tell you it's not as bad as Labs does seem. So I've marked out most of the spawns I remember. I don't quite remember all of them, but essentially you got one by medical block button, one over by the infirmary stairs. You got the two right here that head up that are on the staircase. I believe you have one right here, but I can't quite remember that one. And you have the parking... second floor or basement, well, first floor or basement spawn. The spawn that you have to be worried about the most that doesn't give you a good route to extract is this one on first floor by the offices. For this one, you can't push out and through too well, and you also can't push this way because you have people on either side of you. So we'll talk about that one first. If you do end up getting this spawn, I would recommend pushing down here. There's going to be right here at the bottom, there's going to be double doors which head through into parking. And I would try and kind of slip your way through parking and then get over to parking stairs and then get down in the basement and maybe push main elevator or maybe go across and all the way down to sewers. That one's going to be the highest risk though. I think it's going to be pretty difficult to get through that one without running into people. Every other spawn, you have a direct route. The two that you are shooting for is you're shooting for ventilation shaft or sewer. For ventilation shaft, you need to have no backpack on. It's pretty easy. You can sit and hang out in any of these rooms here, listen for people. It's possible someone's going to come down and push you, but usually people are running that route. The reason why labs can be easy is because the people who are running labs are very predictable. They're pushing PvP, they're going black room, they're going into the main rooms, and they're looking for loot. And there's not much loot worth looting down bottom unless you're trying to fill space. So anywhere down on the sewer level, basement level is a really good place to be, and it gives you a way out. Sewers, you got to hit this button on the left side when you walk in first. It takes about 1:30 to empty the sewer, and then you can extract. Is a longer extract, it's like 8 seconds, but you can sit and hold peaks on both these corners, watch for people coming down and pushing you. It does set off an alarm, so you got to be careful of that once you hit it. If you hear a lot of gunfire, that could be a good time to hit it and just drain it and be ready to go. In my case, I waited until I was a minute and a half out. I hit it, let it empty, and as soon as I could run straight back, I just held right peaks. 4 labs I did kit up. Zabralo, Alton, Juice Cannon. Going in as heavy as we can, so if we do get in a fight, especially since it's the last map, we have the most security that we can win that fight. Besides that, labs it's not too bad. Every single time you have a way to get to the bottom, you have a lot of extracts getting out the bottom. You have medical block if you need. You have main if you need. You can also hit power here and then go all the way up to 3rd and hit cargo elevator. So you have a lot of options and a lot of ways to extract, and most of them are based around the sewers where not many players hang out. Good luck, and I hope that you finish it. We did it.
You did?
We did it. We soloed the guide. First run. Woo! Oh. Here's the survive. May not have been an exciting 9 runs, but that feels good to solo the guide. And not, I want to make this point too, I am not on Columbia servers. I am on my standard 3 server selection.
Is that a thing people are doing for the guide?
I think people do to quests. You go into Columbia servers as players.
Interesting.
That is guide done in an hour 40, 9 maps. Guide
Then we go like this.
done.
Oh, don't even need that anymore.